it'll take me a little bit to post it though, so be aware of that. It won't show up right after class. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna get onto a Google Doc. I've created like just a paragraph that I'm gonna use to show you how to format things, okay? So here's a sample literary analysis paragraph. I have it typed up, I gave it a title, and now I need to go in and actually add everything I'm supposed to have for MLA format. Okay, so first thing first, what I like to do when I set up my documents, I first add in my header, and then I add in my page number and all that stuff. So at the upper like tab bar of your Google Docs or your Google Docs, you'll see these left align, center align, right align. You want to always left align, and that will move your cursor. Oh, my cursor's like way over. That should be fine. All right. Okay, so I'm going to type in my name, and as you notice, this is all in bold. I don't want it in bold, but I will fix that after. And then type in my name, my teacher's name, my class name. You can do a comma or a period or a slash or whatever. That doesn't really matter. This is 6 period, so I would write 6, or you could do P6. That works too. And then I always do the date that the assignment's due. That's usually a teacher preference. It's up to you. I don't really care what it is, as long as it's somewhere along the day it's due or when we've been working on it. Don't make up some random day, okay? And you have a couple options for your date. You could do 11, and like I said, I'm gonna do the due date, so 20, and then you could do 2020, okay? You could write it like that. You could do 20 November 2020, like that. This is probably the most academic form of the date that you could do, or you could do November 20, comma, 2020. Oh, not 2022. Okay, there you go. So I'll just leave it like that for right now. I typically do the day in front of the month and then the year, but that's just me. Okay, so not bolded because that looks ridiculous. And then I'm gonna go into my header. So if you double click at the top of your page, for people who are working on the app and you can't like click into it or whatever the case may be, and maybe you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, if you can click into it. But what you're gonna do, and I'm looking on my phone because that's where I have the app version of it. If you're actually editing it, and look, you can like see my name on here. You're gonna go to, okay, so if this is what yours looks like, I'm kind of zooming into the little camera. You're gonna have all these options at the top. If you hit that plus button and then go to where it says page number, you'll have a few options pop up. And it'll be the same thing here when I do, if I go to insert, I'm gonna go to page numbers. And then you'll see a 1 and 2 happening consecutively. So click on that. Notice it's gonna show up on that left side. I don't want it on the left side, right? I want it on the right side. So I'm gonna go to right align. Oops, mine showed up twice there. Right align, and then your name, last name goes in front of that number. And then you hit space, so there's a space in front of the number. The biggest mistake that people make with inputting their page numbers is they manually type in the number. This could be different on pages, so don't quote me if you're listening to me because you're working on pages. If you manually type it in on Google Docs or Microsoft Word, it will show up as the same number on every single page, which you don't want, right? You want it to be a different page. So you have to actually hit the insert page number or add page number for it to show up different on every page, okay? So make sure you do that, last name, whatever number, okay? Then I'm gonna change the font for everything because the font is off, size 12. I'm gonna change it to Times New Roman. And I'm telling you right now, guys, I know the difference in the fonts, okay? I have a very good eye for this. I've been doing this for like 7 years. I know what size 12 looks like, and I know what Times New Roman looks like right when I see it, okay? So don't try to fool me. I also notice a dead giveaway is when students don't change the header part, the last name and page number, but they change everything else. And so this obviously looks off from everything else. So make sure you're actually changing everything on your page. Your title, for the purpose of this, I would prefer it not to be bolded. Some teachers don't care if you have it bolded or not. I like everything to be fluid, but as long as it's not some like larger font size or different font type, it actually doesn't really matter what you do with the title, okay? It also must be the same color as everything else. Okay, so that is your header and the page number and your title stuff. The next thing you need to do is actually make sure you indent the start of your paragraph, okay? Easiest way is to just hit the tab button and it moves the first line over, okay? The problem I see the most, students, and maybe this is because now there's a tab button, maybe there wasn't once upon a time, there wasn't a tab button, but Andrew let us know there is a tab button on your iPads, regardless if you have a keyboard or not. But a lot of students just like to hit space. They're like, let me just hit space like, I don't know, 15 times. Okay, so then it looks like that, all ridiculous, okay? And then they start a new paragraph and they're like, how many times did I hit space? And then they go, maybe it was like 7. Okay, perfect. And then they start typing, and this is what their paper looks like. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, don't do that. Just hit the tab button or pick a number. Okay, and remember that number. Don't hit space. I hate when people hit space. Okay, and I can also tell when people hit space, even though it's like she'll never know. My favorite is also when people just do like, I'll just do 2, and I'm like, that's your indent. Don't do that, okay? Just hit the tab button. There's also, if you go up here in Google Docs, they give you manual indent. So it's super simple. You could literally just click it, and that moves over the whole thing. Now, to break that, especially if you're working off of the app, like on your phone or your iPad and you don't have that keyboard, whatever, if you hit enter and then you hit this line again, it'll move everything back over, but you will have this line here, and usually that will get fixed if you go in to your line spacing and then remove space after paragraph. It'll usually get rid of it. It's not right now, but typically speaking, it would get rid of that line, okay? Sometimes it's a little funky and you kind of have to mess with things, and it is what it is, okay? It's unfortunate that that happens, but safest bet is just hit the tab button, okay? Or they usually say, I think if you're hitting space, I think it's like 7 spaces equals out to about this. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I always hit tab. So this is what your paragraph would look like. Your second paragraph would come down just below it, and you start typing your second paragraph, okay? And then that's really simple. It's really that easy, okay? Once you get it set up, you're usually good to go, okay? So this is what it should look like if you're working on Google Docs, okay? Are there any questions for the Google Docs people that I can answer? Or do you guys feel good to go because you're working on Google Docs? Any questions?
For the header, for the period, do we put P.6?
You can, or just
put a number.
You could use your 6 too.
Okay.
That's, yeah, I know that. I know what you mean there. So, any other questions for that? No? Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to say for you people working on Google Docs, you're free to start working on your essay some more, getting your stuff all formatted. I'm going to show how to do it on Microsoft Word as well. So if you're somebody who's working off Microsoft Word, this is your time to listen in. And bear with me a little bit. It has been a while since I've worked on Microsoft Word because most of my students don't have it anymore. So, okay, so here is, say this is your Microsoft Word paragraph essay. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna see your left align right here so that you can obviously see your toolbar is set up very differently than Google Docs. So your alignments are gonna be right here. And again, you're gonna start with your name, your teacher's name, your class title, and then your period, and then you're gonna do your date. And I'll do a different form of the date this time. We'll start with so there's my date. I'm going to take that off bold because that's not what we want. And what's nice about Microsoft Word, it gives you your quick little toolbox will pop up when you highlight stuff. So it's very simple to just hit not bolded. And then you're going to double click on the header section. You'll see the entire toolbox changes as soon as you click on that, which again is also super nice with working with Microsoft Word. You're not having to go through all these different menus to find things. The first thing we're going to do is right align everything. If we go into insert, when we're working right here, we'll see header, footer, page number. You'll click on that page number, and we're going to do the top of the page, and it'll show you some options will pop up. The way it shows you options is very different than on Google Docs, as you can see. So we want plain number 3, which is over on the right-hand side. And see the number will pop up, and then you'll type in your last name, hit space, and then you'll make sure this font is the same as everything else. This nice, easy toolbox shows up. Times New Roman, size 12, wonderful. And then you can just double click out of that. There you go. Now I'm gonna make this font all the same size as well. Again, we're gonna go to Times New Roman, oops, size 12, wonderful. And then we need to indent our paragraph. So we'll hit Tab. If your stuff is not double spaced, just go ahead and highlight everything, and you'll see next to the alignments, you'll see a spacing that says lines and paragraph spacing. Make sure you hit, so say yours looks like this, with just one line, you'll do double, which is the 2. Make sure your header is also double spaced, where it has your name, teacher's name, all that stuff. Make sure that it's double spaced too. I'm gonna unbold this like I did last time, just so it's the same as everything else. And that is basically your paragraph, okay? Pretty simple. So when you're working on Microsoft Word, I think everything goes a lot smoother than even on Google Docs, but that's just me. So let me know if you have questions for this one too. Is there any questions for the few people who were working on Microsoft Word, how to go about formatting things? No? Okay, wonderful. So